Okay, the reason? To really give commentary on the impact that technology is having on society, political and social, the implications of it, the dangers, the pluses and the minuses, and to look at it in a very open, critical eye, not jaundiced but realistic. The idea of saying, you know, what is this stuff? What is happening? And trying to put it in context and seeing how the various components of technology, how they fit together. And what are the things that are really, truly transformative? And what are the things that are just fads? And the implications of where we're going, the acceleration is manifest. And you have people like the Ray Kurzweils of the world, the Kevin Kellys of the world, that are incredibly knowledgeable. But do you talk about the social and political implications of this stuff? What kind of dislocations happen? And how do we deal with it? And looking at technology as something that there is no morality. It's like nature. There is no morality in nature. There is no morality in technology. And it's like you and I had discussed when we were talking about beyond real time, is the attitude that Terminator 1, the Terminator is bad. Terminator 2, Terminator is good. What's the difference? The programming. The actual construct is the same, but how the programming is applied to make that construct move makes all the difference in the world. So when you look at the internet, here is the avenue to allow technology to accelerate at a double exponential rate, to give you instantaneous communication and collaboration, to allow people to be able to broadcast and to communicate in ways that are impossible by any other means, also can give true rise to a big brother. The elimination of privacy. So what are the rules that you deal with now that our privacy is gone? David Brin, who is a science fiction writer, wrote a book called Earth back in 1990. And it's an absolutely prescient book. And it's a prescient book because the storyline itself didn't blow me away. But the internet and the idea of cell phones with video, and this is back in 1990, the impact of global warming, the impact of lack of privacy, the impact of how people dealt with each other, holding the kind of tools that we are holding today, and he was thinking about this 17 years ago. And I think it's one of the great, great futurist books, because he was able to pull together and say, make a calculated analysis without getting too wrapped up into the hardware, but wholly into the concept of what are we dealing with in terms of communication and how the linkage can happen. And plus, he's a heavy-duty physicist. So the science that he had in his writing was extremely solid. So he was able to extrapolate correctly. The same way with another physicist who's a writer named Werner Ving. And he's the guy that talks about the singularity is near. The singularity is now, where the acceleration is so fast, 20 years hence, you cannot predict how society is going to be. So when you start looking at that, and then you have a political center to say, well, in the year 2040, we're talking about Social Security. Well, in the year 2040, you're talking about a machine that's in your breast pocket that's about 10 million times smarter than you are. Now, what are we dealing with in terms of longevity? What are we dealing with when cancer basically becomes a cold? What are we dealing with when nanotech is going to be part of our lives? And the idea of integration with systems to maintain our lifestyle or to improve our lifestyle becomes manifest in society. And we're still talking about Social Security when the context of civilization as we know it is going to be changed in ways we can't even recognize. And you see this everywhere when you go into the net.